Hi guys, welcome back to Group D, and finally we are 99% complete on the customer PS13 project. So I just want to go through everything on this episode just to show you the way things turned out, and I'll do one more episode after this at the dyno and then the total complete liveried car. And it's almost ready to go home, so it's running, driving, the whole lot, and we'll look at some of the details because this turned out really nice. So let's take a look at it. Right, so here is the finished article. Give you one quick walk around to see how everything turned out. Looks really good actually. These are the wheels off of my 240 for now. Customers' wheels haven't arrived yet, and that is why we're a bit weak on the offset and stance here, because we just removed the wheel spaces that were on there and bolted these straight on, so it won't look that weak when it's done. The wing really sets it off. Black and white is such a nice contrast. All the back is now painted. Really should do a black outline on the lamps like they should have, or what's remaining of the lamps. Take a look at that in a minute. And yeah, that's what she looks like. Totally back together, everything done. Cool looking PS. Right, let's start in the business end with the Group D2JZ. So if you watched previous episodes, you might have seen some on this. Fully built by us to our specs, done in-house, the whole shebang. Finally got everything in there. That's been fabricated. All just looks so neat and tidy. Everything has a purpose. Got the D 3D printed cap on the electric power steering, which is in the engine bay. That became a bit difficult to package on this car with its complete rear window, which is not normal for us, so wanted to put it out here anyway. That gives you everything is checked in the engine bay basically, fluids wise, and it gives you nice and short lines to the rack. Not that that really matters, but it just keeps things tidy. And we got all the Wise Fab modified and painted. So this is a V1, and it's got our cross member with the Lexus IS200 steering rack. Then because of that rack position, the outer knuckle needs an Ackerman modification, so that is done, and this is all aligned now and ready to go. Turned out really good. You see the intake pipe the way it turned out, which is just class. Comes down, it's got a vibrant clamp here, which just makes it turbo serviceable, and this section of the intake pipe can stay all the time. It is bolted to the top of the intercooler here with this little bracket, and then you've got your K&N air filter here with the filter sock on it, getting really cool air. We did have an internal discussion about length of pipe work versus which causes a pressure drop. We know, but it's going to be pressure drop versus cold air. So I kind of prefer getting the cold air. I'm not too worried about a tiny pressure drop. Most cars you will see they just have a filter here, which is no way going to be as cold air as here because of the hot side generating so much heat in this area. This looks really good though. I mean, just nice contrast between the black, the silver, the white. Everything else matches that kind of theme. Even the silicone holes, everything is, you know, simple things like T-bolt clamped and will never blow off a boost pipe, all that kind of stupid crap that you get with cars. And it's got its mechanical oil pressure here for the pit crew, so that's mechanically to the engine. If you have electrical failure, it all still works. Fuel pressure regulator poking its head up here. Oil catch can. You've got the little stay here. This is among the nicest. This little stay for the throttle cable to stop it just swinging under G-force. just keeps everything routed nicely, and it's got the speed holes in it, as does the bracket for the dipstick, as does the brace between the two heat shields over there. So clutch is fully heat shielded, brakes are fully heat shielded. Anything you spot in the comment that you might that you might have a question about, just ask me in the comments. All the vacuum lines are plumbed, they're all clipped, protected against G-force basically. You know, you must take into account that when you go left and right, everything swings, so you just give it a swing while you're building it, and then find out how you're going to fasten it as you go. Wastegate down there, double wastegate, heat shield keeping the brakes from melting. Strange one for us on this is the two water pipes on the inside. I normally don't run them like that, but the double wastegate plus 2-to-1 merged screamer pipe made this area kind of a no-go. This is neat and tidy here. I normally run a hot and a cold in each side to get it to pass through the bearing core, we'll say. But as we know in motorsport, you don't really need any water cooling as such, so this will just be sufficient as well. It keeps it neater and tidier, and you won't ever have an issue with your water lines in this area. One of them is coming from the top of the head, the hot one, into this little bracket here, and then one of them is right there onto the bottom of the water pump delete, which pokes out behind the timing belt, goes down and around. And yeah, you've seen that, I'm sure, in previous videos. There's the Group D alternator kit ready to go. There's your oil cooler and fan. We custom cut this cowling to mount onto the 40-row cooler, and the oil fan you'll see in the back as well. This is labeled. The label matches the description of what it is in the keypad on the interior, which we'll look at in a minute. So if the keypad says something isn't working, it's labeled to match the electrical component in the car. Means you don't have to ring Darren on a Sunday and ask what's this and what's that. It's fairly self-explanatory. So it's turned out really nice. It's new, spotless. Look at that. Look, it's just beautiful. There isn't many nicer 2JZ engine bays than that. I think it looks class. Right, let's move on to take a look at the interior. Okay, so inside we'll take a look from both sides. Driver's side first. As you can see, you know, I did say 99% complete, so we've got these rags on protecting everything, which look crap now, but they won't be there obviously when we're finished. Also, the wheel is still the wheel that came with the original chassis that we got. There is a new steering wheel there, but it won't go on to the last. We'll leave the greasy hands of the dyno man and everything go on this old wheel before we change that. Brand new seat in there, OMP, brand new harness. Fire extinguisher system is here. It is mechanical, not electrical. I don't mind that. With all the fancy stuff, I still don't mind a mechanical fire extinguisher, because the electrical one can be very easy for someone to set off. There's the pull for the driver, which is really nice. Little 2-bolt bracket here, so that's the driver's pull, nice and short and simple back there. And the we'll be able to see the pull to the cowling up here. From the other side, Haltech IC7 dash with the visor, and then we 3D printed this Group D mount here. These will be available from our website. They fit a Sylvia column, clamped to a Sylvia column, and they fit the aftermarket expensive columns like Woodford and Sweet MFG, like I have in my own car. They fit that too, so whatever diameter this is, probably 1.25 inches or whatever, they're exact for that, and kind of made for the IC7 there. 2-bolt onto the back, but could fit any dash. Obviously, we're not finished here either. The pedals, we'll have new pedals coming that we're working on. Another thing I want to point out is this little Toyota Starlet gear knob is the only thread, the only one I have in that thread at the moment, but there's a new gear knob being made. I'll show you that in the next episode probably. Haltech keypad here. Group D handbrake, Elite ECU. Everything ran and kind of ready. It's nice and simple. This is Group D dash, which is a double passenger side S13 dash. So we got two S13 dashes, cut them, joined them, molded them, and it just means no instrument binnacle. As you have your digital dash clamped to your column, it just makes it nice and clean and smooth looking. We'll see that better from the passenger side, but this is the driver's view here. It looks really cool, and we'll take a look at a little more detail on the passenger side. Right, looks a lot better from over here. So there's the double passenger side S13 dash. We do this quite regularly. We split the dash here, so this section becomes permanent to the car, and then you've got your push button fasteners here positioned on the dash, so it becomes a no tools one-man job to take the dash out for any reason. There should be no reason, but anyway. So you just push the fasteners and the dash pulls obviously straight forward here, which it wouldn't going around the cage, and just pulls straight forward and then walks out towards this side to you. So if we didn't do that, obviously, you know, you can be much tighter and nicer with this section if you're allowing the dash to separate here and pull out that way. If you keep the dash in one piece, then sometimes you have to cut an awful lot for it to be able to ever come out again or whatever. The cage was already in this car, so this is a pretty much a full Group D build, except, you know, we're kind of at the mercy of the shell we receive. So unlike rally cars or whatever, where you would get a shell to start with, which is a non-modified, we'll say for an Escort, you get a non-modified Ford shell. The drift cars, most of them tend to be drift cars in a previous life. So they have maybe the front cut off, the back cut off. They have a cage already in it that needs to be modified. They have tunnels already done, that kind of stuff. Really, this day and age, you don't get a mint Sylvia shell to start from anymore. So you need to see with the customer how much needs to be redone, how much is going to stay, and that's kind of where this project lies with us. It's not our full shell, so to speak. So the cage was already in there. This bar made me think of that, because this bar was already done in the cage. We normally wouldn't have that, but things like that, it was already done. We did have to put in a anti-intrusion bar here and things like that. We did the harness bars as well, as the seat was up against the old straight ones, things like that. So we added a little bit to it, but the cage itself was already in the car. Yeah, these bars, for example, going back through, and this bar was already in, and the plan, customer did not want to take them out. So there's the seat, fire extinguisher system, all plumbed. It's got true bulkhead connection on it. So it's got like a true bulkhead connector. You just push in. These are really nice. It's got the docks in the window, as you can see, and they go back. And we actually 3D printed some panel mounts for them, which really, there was nothing really available in the market that was nice. So we 3D printed our own plastic panel mounts, which are really tasty. There's a Cartech kill switch in it. We use these electrical kill switches a lot. They're great. And there's a lovely little dead fly here. There's a red top 40 battery, I think, and we always use these jumping posts. So if you need to put a booster pack on, you just pop it on the posts left and right of the battery there, because these little M6 bolts are impossible to get the big jaws of a booster pack on. So it just makes your life so much easier, as is so much of the stuff we do is to make your life easier. Got the Race Quip fireproof gear gaiter. We did a tubular gear lever to about where I think it should be. We made this center console, just we had to make something nice and simple. The Haltech Elite is here, and then on the second row, which you can't see, oh, you can see it there, the Haltech PDM is behind it. So both mount in here, and it's actually really easy to plug into them. You can plug into the ECU here, obviously, and you can plug into the Haltech there. We were considering putting a plug in the side of the PDM as well, just to make life easier, or on the side of the panel here for the PDM, just so you can plug in a bit easier. We laser cut this bracket for the keypad. This hole here actually is for kill switch. You can put a kill switch each side, so you can see from the back there the electronic kill switch is from the side, so as you put your left hand down, it just falls really nicely for your thumb, so it's really ergonomic. So it's really easy to turn the car on and off with the kill switch there. And then you have the keypad, which we'll take a look at. So you have ignition, starter, you have wipers, 2 speeds for the wipers. There's an intermittent, we'll say, and a continuous. Then you have high boost, low boost. You have the 2 radiator fans and the oil cooler fan. You have a heated front screen, which is wired in. You have lights, power steering pump. You have 2 fuel pumps, so one of them will have the lift pump and a main pump, and then one of them will just be the second main pump. That's kind of how we wire them. Unfortunately, you start to run out quickly of outputs in the PDM, so sometimes you need to group some items. Engine pump is actually the water pump, which is all automatic, and then you've got a spare over here. I just put a Haltech sticker on it because it didn't look right in black. Now, keypad. We have the keypad. I'm getting a bit old to be leaning in here. We have the keypad, and it has whatever 15 switches on it, and you're like, wow, why didn't you make, you know, everything automatic, because you have all the electronics? And we did. So everything is automatic. The reason we put the keypad in with so many buttons is you can see the operation of everything on the keypad. So ignition is on, fuel pump is on, the water pump is on, things like that. Power steering pump, sorry, fuel pumps aren't on. You can see here again, so the fuel pumps prime and then go off. So yeah, the reason we did that, everything is automatic, so all the fans are automatic, everything. The only manual stuff here is wipers, lights, and windscreen heater, we'll say. Everything else is switched by the ECU at a certain speed or boost or whatever the case may be. And the reason we went and did the keypad like this is it becomes a diagnostic tool for the customer. So if the car won't start, the fuel pumps light up red as a fault. If one radiator fan is only working, the second one or whatever will come up red, or the non-working one will come up red, and then the operational one will be orange, and then green means everything is okay. So even though all the switches are there, all the customer has to do is turn on the kill switch, press the ignition, press the starter, and never has to switch anything on again. Everything is controlled automatically by the ECU, but it becomes a great diagnostic tool to see what's operating, or if there's a big problem, what's not operating. That's why there's so many switches. This car needs no switches really, but this is a nice touch, I think, to, for example, if the oil cooler fan isn't working, this one will have a red fault in it and it's marked oil fan, and as I said earlier, the oil cooler fan is marked oil fan. That comes into play when you have like fan 1 and fan 2 for the radiators. You can tell which one is which at the back because they're labeled, and they're labeled here, and you can tell straight away if one isn't working which one I need to change. So it becomes a good diagnostic tool, as I said. So yeah, that's about it. You've got a bit of brake bias control here to the back, mounted just at the left hand of the driver. Pretty simple in here. We like to keep it as simple as possible, and yeah, I think it turned out really tasty. So there's 9 minutes of waffle there for you. right to the rear. A lot going on here. As I've mentioned before, you know, this car is not cut across the window like we normally would to give you loads of access. It is complete along the back parcel shelf. So there's a black shelf in there which takes the white look off and stops the smoke coming in also, because there's a load of holes here. So they've all been blocked. You can see the two ducts coming through. The ducts are tiny, as I know, but the it just stops a low pressure area here. It just keeps some airflow, keeps the air moving all the time for the reds to suck it through. You've got your water fill here. You've got water bleed here for when you do the system once. It's already done, so if you ever lose all the water, you can bleed it here very easily. You've got these little fins here to just trap a little bit of air and force it down in. Just made sense to me to just give it a little bit of a trap of air. Also works in the direction of drifting this way or that way. It works. There's your expansion tank for the radiators. I went really simple on this. I have gone with all sorts of aluminium things before, but you just can't beat a plastic bottle that you can see the level the whole way around the bottle, rather than aluminium with a sight tube, we'll say, and eventually the sight tube just becomes brown or black or whatever. And yeah, it just sometimes very simple is better. You can see it mounted to the side of that is the vent for the fuel cell, which is down there. Nuke CFC unit into an ATL cell. This filler for the fuel obviously comes all the way up here and goes to there. Nuke filler cap, which is the best on the market if you ask me. And you've got the double Honda Civic Mishimoto V-mounted rad system. So this fuel flap is the best thing ever, because you can see everything that's going on. So there's the vent, the filler, you've got your water, a hand in here, got your water coming out into the radiator, it goes across obviously, and there you see the pipe on the other side going into the other radiator. You've got your Group D rear tubular frame here. You've got a big 4-inch silencer mounted here, which is V-banded, and it's got a bolt off bracket here because it comes off and you can go straight pipe if you want to go straight pipe. Bumper bars back here with all the 90-degree bracketry for multiple cable ties and bolts or whatever you want to do. Also fitted on this side, but I can't see right now. You've got your laser cut stays down to the chassis, which mount through your GT wing, which is dusty, and massive GT wing, gonna create a lot of force, so it needs to be connected to the chassis, not the fiberglass. There's your big race fans, Mishimoto ones, and you can see that's fan 1, so the other side will be fan 2. There's the silencer again. Looking from underneath, ATL cell mounted on this bracket here, which I explained in a previous video. We slide it and we mount it after the car has been on the scales. Jacking point there, tow hook there, all this speed holes and bracketry all done. Little less complex on this side. There is fan 2. You can see in here all the brake lines all redone, everything. There's the duct coming through. All this tube work was already in the shell and not removed. In there, Winter's quick change, Wisefab half shafts brand new, Wisefab knuckle kit, fuel cell, nice gudgeons and bolts for the bumper bars, so you'll always bend the bar, you won't shear a bolt, nice and strong. So all stainless fasteners, just turned out really nice. Really, really nice. And yes, as the wing is mounted through the boot doesn't come off, so it stays on all the time. You don't remove the boot, everything is serviceable from the top, which is fine. My own car is the same. My own car is an awful lot more porous with more holes in it, which wouldn't be this customer's taste. So we kept the holes to a minimum. We have 3 exit holes here for hot air, which are essential, obviously. So hopefully we'll know from testing this is enough. If not, we'll probably have to open out holes in the bumper just to stop that kind of parachute effect where the hot air comes back and then it goes around the side and goes forward. Then you've got a bad circulation, the hot air can't get out, then it's going to overheat, as well as the cold air not being able to go in, it's going to overheat. So getting the hot air out is just as important as getting the cold air in. So we might have to open up some of the bumper just to stop that effect, or we might not. We'll see once we get on the track. But yeah, it's kind of weird to have the boot not coming off for a lot of people, but you don't even notice it in my own car because nothing actually goes wrong. It's really simple back here. There is just a couple of fluids to have to check and the water pump, and it's not that big of a deal. Then if you need to get at the tank or anything for some reason, which you won't, it's not that big of a deal to take the spoiler off. It can come off at the leg, it can come off up here, whatever. So yeah, that's the completed project. Pretty much, as I said, 99% there. It would be nice to get some sexy door cards on here and a couple of other things, but it's going for wrapping next week, and when it comes back from wrapping it'll be going to dyno. So I will show you guys a video from the dyno and how we get on. I'm expecting big numbers from this, quite a big turbo, hopefully not too much lag. And then it'll be testing time. Leave the customer get used to the car, and then it's up to him, whatever he wants to do. This car should be extremely reliable. I'm expecting no issues whatsoever, just like all the other ones we build. But yeah, turned out really, really nice. A lot of cool touches in it. I think, you know, we've thought of everything, overthought everything almost. It should be a full automated car, as I said, for the customer. Press the ignition switch, start it up, go and drive. It has all sorts of warnings already done in the electronic system. It'll warn you against the engine being too cold. It'll warn you obviously too hot. Same with the oil temp, same with the oil pressure. Everything has built-in warnings come up on the screen. So it really should be, even though it's quite a pro build, which can be daunting for people, it should be an automated vehicle that a handy. Right, lost the phone battery there as usual. But what I was saying was the car is so automated that a handy crew should be able to run it. Even though it's complicated, it's so automatic on all the features. So that's what sets it apart from just regular builds. That's what separates a good builder, in my opinion. And of course, all that automation takes time to do, but it's really important for us to do it. Anyway, right, that's it for this one. I'll be back soon, I hope, I bought some nice old relics that I'm going to show on the channel. They're going to be kind of personal projects for me as I move maybe more away from the drift cars to more resto modding old cars, which I think is very interesting. It's going to move to that soon, and I'll be back with this on the dyno in this series. Thanks guys, see you later.